Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hall Wines Happy Hour. My name is Kathryn Hall. We are in the middle of harvest right now out here in Napa Valley. And so if you are in the area and you are feeling like visiting the wine country, this is a wonderful time to do that. There is so much excitement in the air. Everything is really happening. And this is the moment, the time of year that we all wait for all year long. So come on by. All of our tastings rooms are open. We've got lots of outdoor seating for you. The weather is beautiful, and you can be content that we have safeguards in place, all the protocols to keep you healthy. So that's what's going on. And if you can't get here, you can always visit our website and bring a little Napa Valley home to you just by ordering some wine and have it sent. My guest today is Rebecca Minkoff. You know her most likely because she's an incredibly famous and talented fashion designer. But she is also an amazing author. She's an entrepreneur. She is a supporter of other women entrepreneurs. And she has a fabulous podcast called Superwomen. And if you don't listen to it already, you should. I do, and I really love it. So let's bring on Rebecca Minkoff.
Hi, nice to meet you from afar.
So nice to have you on. Thank you so much for joining.
Really my gosh, I'm glad to be here, and cheers.
And let's do it. Cheers. I loved it. I think every conversation should begin with a glass of nice wine. So
there you go.
So this is one of our Cabernets. It's called Curb. We'll talk about it a little more later. But first, let's start with the industry that most people know you from, Rebecca, the fashion industry. You have had to deal with COVID, as all of us have who are in business over the past year and a half now. And you have been very successful. You have survived. You have put in some really innovative changes. But at the same time, it really has amazed me that you could do that in a way. When I think about you are selling bags, for example, to women who have nowhere to go, who don't have any plans to go anywhere, and yet you are still making that work. So talk a bit about that. What have you done? I'd love to know just sort of what's been going on for you during this period.
Yeah, so March of last year, our business, which was primarily in department stores and wholesale, we had a healthy e-commerce business, but our focus every day was what sold in Nordstrom, what sold in Saks, what sold in Bloomingdale's. And that was how we began each day. And when the pandemic hit and all those stores closed, 70% of our business evaporated immediately and overnight and for the foreseeable future. And we had no idea when that would come back. And so my brother, who's my co-founder, said, well, you're our chief influencer and marketer now, and we got to make sure that we can keep the business alive. And so every day we called it day trading. It was, what did we do on the site today? And does that feed the family this evening with the team that able to and in such an unfortunate situation, there were so many silver linings. The team got closer than ever. You could really see who pulled together and who, fought for the cause. And then I think we were just really honest and open. And I know authenticity is an overused word, but very authentic with what was going on in my life. And the customer appreciated it. There was another designer baking pumpkin bread from his $1 billion penthouse. And I was like, I'm hiding in the bathroom with a glass of wine for my kids to do my homework and my Zoom meetings while they're banging on the doors. And I'm sharing this with you because we're all going through some semblance of, complete insanity. And rather than pretend everything's perfect, I think it was just that dialogue that the woman who supports my bag said, I have nowhere to go, but she's entertaining me. She's taking my mind off the news. She's supporting other female-founded companies. She's working like a dog. I'm going to give her my money for when I do go out. And I thought that the women that truly supported me this year. I sent them all books as a thank you. I picked my top 4,000 women who ordered last year and said thank you because I'm here because of you.
Oh, I love that. There's nothing like gratitude, real gratitude. And as you say, authenticity is something that you, by definition, can't fake. And I think a lot of it is just this sort of empathy toward people who are going through, everybody went through, to one extent or another, what you were dealing with in your life, I'm sure, but also in your business.
Yes. And to know that I think people don't sugarcoat it, it was all really real for everybody. So let's just all hold hands.
Right. It really does. It builds a team too. So true.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned your book, which I have to say I love. So those of you who have not yet read this is Rebecca's book. It's called Fearless. And it is totally awesome, and it's real. And she has an incredible life, but you are so honest, Rebecca. And there is there's no one who isn't touched by some part of your story. I mean, there is a part of us, everybody, somewhere in the story you tell. I love it.
Thank you. And I think with calling it Fearless, it wasn't that this book is your magic antidote and you're going to be fearless in your life afterwards. I think it's more the idea that we all have fear, whether it's real fear when you're running from a bear, or the fear that stops you from pursuing your passion, which is still real, but you let it stop you versus tackling it. I think the goal is you're going to feel that fear, but you have these guideposts, which are my rules, to sort of help you along that journey.
So what's it like to be promoting a book when you can't do very much in person? I mean, how do you deal with this?
So we planned a really big event on June 15th, which was digital, which I was so proud of. I had speakers like Bozoma St. John, Jessica Alba, Amanda Kluth. If you don't know these women, you should. And then I invited a ton of underprivileged women and girls and gave them all books so that they could have a dose of inspiration. And then I did as many talks and books and chats as I possibly could digitally. And then as things began to loosen up in July and August, I've done a couple of live in-person events, and it's so incredibly soul reviving to be in person and to be with people. And they've all been sold out. So I've been super proud because, I expect to sell out of a bag, but you never know with a book and a new audience. You're like, are people going to come hear me talk about a book? And they have. And so that's been really rewarding to see that.
Really, really is. Digital has been an important part for us as well in the wine business. I mean, we had to do a lot of pivoting, and technology has been a big part of your approach to your own business for quite a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, actually, as part of last year, one of the biggest things that helped us was we started doing text messaging with a company called Attentive before a lot of other fashion brands were. So we were right in your phone, texting you deals, offers, sales, first access to stuff, and it was incredible how powerful that became. And people hear the word technology and they might think it needs to be flashy lights and something that costs $1 zillion. But I think when you just get to the simplicity of it, it's making a transaction more seamless in some ways. And so I think that's what we aim to do.
Yeah, I think it also is, it's sort of, it facilitates a conversation. It sort of makes you just more accessible. It's sort of something that everybody relates to. You actually tried for a while. I know you use some technology in your stores. You had one here in San Francisco that I think where you were using it was a mirror, and it was really pretty cool. So
yeah, we like to push the boundaries of technology and fashion. And I think, again, anytime we can create a more seamless transaction with a customer, and I think there's so much that people experience online that then they go into a store and they're like, wait, I have to wait for the woman. I have to get dressed and keep my head out of the dressing room and hope that she's right there. And what if I need a new size and I'm half naked? Or I'm dressing by occasion. How do I know what the lighting will look like with this outfit? So simple things, we had adjustable lighting by occasion. We had a button you could tap for an associate and a button to check out. So nothing, again, earth shattering, but just very simple things that we knew were friction points that a customer doesn't get online, that if we could take that offline, we thought there'd be success.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I thought it was really just great. Really, you've also, I think your podcast, I mentioned that before you came on, but I was talking about you. I think you really have been exploring new ways to sort of communicate with people. And I think the podcasts, although they're not new, they are, I think, new in your industry.
Yeah, so I started that 3 years ago because I get to meet women like you, but I said, I want my customer to know about more women like you, founders that have done incredible things, pursued things against all odds, even the people you think are perfect, like celebrities, what they had to get through to get to where they got to, because it can feel lonely sometimes on your journey. And so the podcast was my way of doing that. And so I'm really proud of the women I've interviewed, people that you've heard of, like Katie Couric, to Kate Corrigan, who no one's ever heard of, but she makes 6 figures a year with her blog. And so I think, we spread the gamut of different women and how those women's journeys can help change and inspire yours.
Really. And the conversations are just so natural. They've just been terrific and really inspirational. I love it.
Thank you. They got a lot more natural when I actually threw out my notes. I used to read from notes and have all the research done, and they were very
right.
Listen to my first couple, and then I threw out the notes and I did no research, and then the naturally curious part of getting to know someone unfolds on the podcast, and that's when they became a lot better. So that's how I do it now, good or bad.
Well, I've listened to an awful lot of them, and I thought that every one of them was just really fabulous.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm thinking that we should go on to this sort of segment of our program that I call Burning Questions. And
okay.
The way this works, so I will ask you a burning question. If it's okay with you, I'll go first. And then you ask me a burning question. And
okay.
And if you don't want to answer it, you can always just take a sip of wine.
I'll answer anything you ask me.
Okay, great. So, okay, let me look at, my first burning question. Oh, yeah. So, you have always been, the Fashion Week has been a big part of your story. And as a fan of Fashion Week myself, I just love it. But my question is, are these live events, are they going to stay around? How are they going to stay around? What's going to happen to live events in your industry?
Yeah, so I think that live events are not going to go anywhere. They're incredibly important. There is an entire industry around, whether it's the people that check you in, to the women that, help cast the models themselves. There's a whole group that twice a year, sometimes 4 times a year, depend on this income. And I think for the industry itself, like, you can only get so much from a computer interaction or watching a video from a brand. There's something about being in that spot at that moment with those people in that atmosphere that creates a community and a magic. And so, during the pandemic, we never stopped showing. We, of course, had to change the way we show and how we did it safely. But, I was very stubborn. I said, there's an economy here that needs to be supported. And if we have that ability to do that as a brand, it's important that we continue. And so we showed all of last year. And we'll continue to show and do events. I just think they're important for our industry.
And that energy sort of is very hard to we all would love to be able to replicate that energy, certainly in my business, I bet in yours, to be able to do it online, but there's nothing like the in-person energy that you get. Yeah. But you also have been doing sort of online events, right?
Yeah, we've had a couple of online events. Like this Friday, obviously, 500 people are showing up to my event, but we're digitally 7 billion people can tune in if they want. So, yeah. I have a question for you, though.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of design and decor, and I love the artwork on this bottle.
Oh, yeah.
Where did this come from, and who's the artist?
Yeah. So it comes from a piece of art. My husband and I collect art, so we have a lot of art at our various wineries. And so this is one of the pieces that he did. And it's actually a kinetic piece. So those round things on the label, that's just really a close-up, and they actually just sort of, they rotate. So it's really pretty fun. It's got its own energy, speaking of energy, sort of when people come.
Wow.
So I like it. And the name of the artist is Jim Drain, he's an American. Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, and the wine's delicious too. Sometimes I buy wine because of the pretty label, and I know that's probably a no-no, but I would buy this wine because the label's really pretty.
Okay, well, let's see. I know there are people like you. This is good. Yeah, but
I figure if you have enough money to invest in a good graphic design, you have enough money to know what good grapes taste like. That's my theory. I don't know if it applies, but
actually, yeah. The other thing is, I have this theory. Like at the winery, we have lots of art around, and we have some art that's back in places where the public never even sees, but only our crew who are working in the wine cellar get to see. But I think the whole idea of being surrounded by art, it's elevating. It sort of it inspires creativity on some level. You don't have to even be conscious of it. But I think having art around you makes you, in my business, makes you a better winemaker, makes you better at the various jobs that you do. I mean, creativity is a part of every role that we have at the winery, and I really love it that you would mention the art. Actually, it's an important part of our lives.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, my turn. All right. Okay. So, your book, Fearless, and the subtitle is The New Rules for Unlocking Creativity, Courage, and Success. So, Rebecca Minkoff, what is your number one key for unlocking creativity and success and courage? Give us a key.
Yeah, I think persistence. I think that we're all going to be faced at some point with wanting to give up, wanting to pack it in, whether it's you feel creatively blocked, you don't feel courageous at all. I attribute a large part of my success is that, you get punched in the face every day, but you just get back up and you keep going. And I think that we tend to be marketed to, these phones make it so easy. You just click and you get everything you want. And then you think that your career or your marriage or your friendship should be instantly successful like it is to get your Amazon packages. And so that's not that way. So you just have to persist and keep going and push through that barrier that we all have experienced and we are going to experience. Oh,
I love that. You tell a story that's just wonderful about in your book about the bag, and you had done this the bag because it was going to be shown in a movie, and then you went through all these machinations to get it done in time, and then you were like 2 hours late to get it, so it didn't make it in the film shot, and then you persisted. I mean, you wore the bag, you got the word out. I mean, I love that. That just fits perfectly for you.
Yes. And I think it's something we all need to adopt, because I think this instant gratification, and listen, don't get me wrong, I want things too instantly, and I have to remind myself, sometimes this path is a little longer in some forks in the road than others. And so that's definitely one that I think about a lot.
Yeah, cool. All right, let's see. I think, is it my turn?
It's my turn.
Okay.
So where do the grapes come from that are in this particular wine?
Yeah. So they come from an area that's in the heart of the valley. We call this wine, it's called Cur. which is part in French, and it's right in the middle of Napa Valley. One of the really unique things about making Cabernet out here is that we have so many different types of soil and so many different sort of terrains that the wines that come from various parts of Napa Valley are each very different. So in the heart of the valley, it's our warmest part of the valley, which tends warmth in climate tends to lead to sort of a very fruity, sort of luscious qualities, maybe with a little bit of chocolate in there. And then the soils where this is located are sandy loam, so sort of like a riverbed. And because of that, the soil drains really hard, which means the water doesn't stay at the top, and which means that the vines have to struggle very hard to find the water that they need. And as a result, you get these really small little berries, but when the ones you get, and not many of them, they're very tough and they're very hardy. There's a lot about, wine is it's very much, there's a lot of analogies that you can do to sort of the idea of a grape that struggles is not unlike a person that struggles. You sort of develop complexity along the way.
So can I just follow that up with one question? I know we're supposed to take turns, but with weather and the endless fires, the Northern California's experience and everything that could go wrong, what made you say to yourself, I want to start a winery?
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know that I ever had a choice. I just think my dad used to grow grapes and for other wineries. So I sort of grew up in this environment, but he never wanted to make wine, and for me, that was always like, it's like getting pregnant, but you never get the baby, you just never, it's just sort of, you don't get the whole story. So I always wanted to make wine. I mean, I've had other careers, but I came back to this, I love it. And I love the people who enjoy wine, because they tend to be folks that sort of think about who will take a minute, who will just sort of stop and enjoy life.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, my question to you. Okay, I've got so many and we just don't have the time. Okay, what is one fashion trend that you wish never happened?
Oh, I love that you asked me this question. It drives me crazy when a woman knowingly puts on a pair of shoes that are going to hurt her 10, 15, 20 minutes in. And then the rest of the night, she's got to lean on her partner or her best friend. I see them in the meatpacking district all the time. They're like holding on to their friend for dear life and wobbling because they're in so much pain. If the shoe is not comfortable and you do not have a driver at your, following behind you, do not wear that shoe. It's just not worth it. I just don't know of another thing we should subject ourselves to like that type of pain. And I'm guilty of it, but I'll never do it again.
Yeah, here. I've been guilty of it, but no more. I always think about, Oprah Winfrey talks about she has sitting shoes.
Yeah.
And I think, really?
Yeah. Exactly.
So they're beautiful.
Yes. But, or keep them in your closet and just look at them.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, nice. Okay, una más for me. Oh no, this is you.
Me.
Is this you? I think it's you.
Yeah. So what is a tannin?
What's tannin? Tannin is an acid. So it's tannic acid. And what it is in a wine, you sort of, when you drink a wine, if you drink a wine that is it's really not ready to be drunk, it's too young, you get this a lot on sort of French, I get it in French Bordeaux a lot of times, and it's sort of you sort of feel it in your cheeks, it's sort of a feel. So, but that's when the tannin there's too much, but tannin really, it's like everything, in the right dosage, it's perfect. It gives complexity to wine. It gives it sort of, it makes it interesting. I mean, nobody wants to have a wine that is sort of glorified grape juice. You know, you want to have nuance in the wine.
Yeah.
And so tannic acid helps us do that.
Gotcha. I'm glad I asked. I obviously hear many people talk about it, but I'm always like, maybe I should ask what that means instead of nodding my head and pretending.
That's great. I love it. You know, the thing is, it's so funny about people are very quick to say, you know, I like this banana split or whatever, but they are not quick to talk about how they like a wine or why they like a wine, because they just don't feel like they have the confidence to be able to talk about it. And yet I spend so much of my life around sommeliers, and I can tell you, I mean, you can be in a group of 6 sommeliers all drinking the same wine, and everybody has a different take on the wine, you know. So there really is, there's no right answer or wrong answer.
That's good to know.
Well, I love this. I hate to stop, but I'm going to have to, because we have another segment that I love to play, but with you, I think it's like particularly appropriate, because this is called What's in Your Bag?
Okay.
And so Rebecca Minkoff, the maker of beautiful bags, what is in your bag?
All right. This is a bag from my spring collection. I realize we're entering fall, but I'm obsessed with suede, and I just felt like this boho. So unfortunately, still a mask. Let's see here. My wallet, which is nice and bright, so I can find it anywhere. My earpods. My sunglasses, unencased, which I know is a big no-no.
Yeah, I do that too, but yeah.
Let's see here. This lip gloss from a company called Merit. They're non-toxic, beautiful beauty company. And then I always have my Kosa's little highlighter cheek duo with a mirror. And that's it. I'm a bag minimalist. So
wait a minute. So no phone? Did you bring out a phone?
Yeah. But my phone's plugged in right now currently.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
Okay. A bag without a phone. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
Got
And
it.
this little guy could be in my purse. He'd be in my purse too. I can't keep him away.
Oh my gosh! Hi.
Children have found me.
Hi guys. So what are your names?
This is Nico, and that's Luca, and my daughter is following the rules and is not coming into the shot.
Yeah. Well, okay. This is real life, and it's so wonderful. It's been wonderful, Rebecca, for you. I so appreciate you sharing your time with us, all your stories and everything, and now your beautiful kids. So it's just been really such a joy.
Thank you
Before you take off, all right, any last thoughts for you've got a lot of fans who are watching and tuning in. Any last words?
Well, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for having me on. Thank you for making delicious wine. And if anyone wants a new podcast, check it out. Super Women with Rebecca Minkoff for my book.
Hear, hear. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Well, come out and see us when you're traveling out west.
Okay. Hi. Bye.
Bye-bye. There they are. That's so cute. Oh, isn't that the best? That this is life, and how nice that Rebecca would come in and share all of that with us. So thank you, everybody, so much for joining. We are so glad at Hall and Walt and Baca to be back online sharing our happy hours with you, and so appreciate you all tuning in to us either through one of our Facebook accounts or on YouTube. So thank you, and follow us. So you know we've got many more wonderful guests coming up. We'll be on each week, so you can follow us on Facebook or on Instagram, and you'll be up to date. So before we leave, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us on the show where great minds drink alike. So cheers to you, and happy trails.